about that worship yesterday?
How about that worship? And how about the Man to Man podcast? Back in your face. Today on the pod,
It was good.
we have the one and only Joseph the Bird Falcione, Big Dano the Doc Atkins, and Patrick the Slim Reaper Dean. And we're back.
That's right. We're back.
Totally played the closing there by accident. So it's all good.
I didn't know we had different closing music than we had intro music.
Yeah.
I thought the intro
Me
music
too.
just swapped up. I thought all the music just swapped up however Matt felt for any given day. It's been
today.
consistent for
For
a
today.
while.
That's the
Today
way it
it
is.
is.
Okay.
Today we're starting with the end.
All right. Ending with the start.
Right.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I wasn't prepared for that. So if we run this in reverse, I guess we're supposed to talk about
Curveball.
week 2 of the 1613 Bible study.
Yep.
Right. So this week's focus was on the watchfulness part of those verses. Any particular reflections from this week that really stood out to y'all? I have one if y'all aren't ready to jump
Go
in.
for it, pal.
But it actually has nothing to do with the verses. Well, not really. But it's a shout out to Danny Graves. So I've been
Oh,
putting
yeah.
the verses in the men's chat every week. And so Tuesday's verse was from Nehemiah 4:9, talking about go set a watchman as they get rumors that people are going to try to tear down the work that they're doing. And Danny chimes in and he's like, yeah, later in there, he talks about how have a sword in one hand while you're rebuilding with the other. So
Yeah.
be ready to fight and defend while you're doing the work of God. And it was like, man, yes,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Yep. Nehemiah, man. That's that was one of the first things I preached on here at Taylor Road when I first became the pastor was the book of Nehemiah and that passage particularly. And I'll never forget just, how much that spoke to me that spiritual warfare in our life is both, I guess active and passive, right? In the sense that it's passive in that the Lord is the one who fights, and wins the victory, but it's active in the sense that I can't just put myself in compromising situations, or I can't just take a relaxed approach to sin and temptation in my life. But it's the armor of God, right?
Yeah.
I go out fully clothed in the armor of God, which is the power of God, but I have to be the one that wears it and utilizes it. Go Danny Graves.
Yeah, Danny's the man.
He is.
He brings light to worship services.
Literally.
As the lighting volunteer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danny. But he also brought darkness a couple weeks ago.
He did, and that was awkward.
Yeah, at the end of the service when y'all went, doof.
That was fun.
It reminded me when I was in high school, we had this deacon at our church in Demopolis. And when it was his time to be the deacon of the week, like our church was like Taylor Road in the sense that we loved each other. And people would stay for a while after church and just visit and fellowship. A joker, like he'd give you 2 flashes of the light. And you're like, oh, here we go. And then, buddy, you just be standing there mid-conversation. Bonk, like everything's off. And you knew Randall was ready to go.
Well, I'm gonna read this passage from Thursday because I thought it was good,
Oh, yeah.
and it probably spoke a little directly. So don't read into it for me, but read into it for yourself. 1 Thessalonians 5:6-8. So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us be sober, having put on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. Oh, come on. Come on. It's football season, guys.
That's right. Strap up, baby.
Strap up. Stay sober, focused.
Yeah. So I think it's in the Be Watchful. So if you did the weekend challenge where you listen to the videos or listened or watched the videos that were put out there, he talks about this. And I think the whole frame of it is to remember that watchful in this terminology is a term of war, right? It's a term of soldiers, of military being watchful, and which I think is helpful for Danny's to be on guard. Like, hey, it's not just stand there and be like, I'm paying attention. No, it's to be ready to engage and to fight for it. But there's right. And so you carry that on, like, hey, don't be asleep. Right? When you sleep, the enemy's at the door. Hey, look at all the Old Testament times where they send in and go in when they're asleep, when they're relaxed, when they're drinking, right? Like at the time when revelry happens. And it's like, oh, these.
Yep.
But the soberness, he talks about it as well. He's like, hey, you got to be sober-minded, right? We don't allow soldiers to stand guard, to be watchful, to be on watch, and not be sober-minded. Right? Because it affects your ability to do it.
Yep.
And I think I think that was just a great, really full circle moment at the end of the week of going through it all and being like, oh, yeah.
And for me, it's not even be sober-minded in terms of drinking or drugs and stuff like that. It is having a pure mindset, not being I'm being focused here, not being focused on the things of the world or things that are going to be distracting or unhealthy. Like let's be.
Well, what are we talking about with sober-mindedness? It's
Yeah.
anything that distorts
Yeah.
the truth.
Yep.
Right, distorts reality, and that's what we're talking about. So that can be pornography, it can be social media, it can be news, it can be our own idolatry and worship of America.
Yep.
That
It can.
perverts our ability to stand guard and be watchful.
Yeah.
However, I will say I know this was written before the SEC because he said those who are drunk at night, and that is not true.
Especially if you're
On
LSU.
college football Saturday,
Yeah.
Well,
I've seen it.
I just think that they had a better tolerance back then. Like they had to drink, all day. It was,
Sure.
that was you were gonna
Totally,
be-
because it took that
Yeah,
long.
yeah. And I've also heard it was probably a little bit weaker alcohol.
Yeah.
We've
Some of it.
really
Some-
It probably
some
wasn't
not. Some of it.
fermented as long.
we
right?
really
All of
have
those.
jammed it up.
We have jam.
We have
Well,
Done some research.
the idea of sober-minded is,
science.
I think it ties into drunkenness because when you're drunk, you're not thinking clearly.
Yep.
When you're drunk,
And you're slow.
You're slow, and you let your guard down.
Yeah.
Right. And all of that. And so I think that idea of sober-minded means I'm not under the influence of anything but the Holy Spirit. Right. Like what Pat was saying. I'm clear-headed, clear thinking. I am, again, when you just think about, and Paul talks about, don't be drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit. And so when you're drunk, your senses are off balance and your guard's down and you're not as reactive. Man, you walk through life spiritually drunk, right? You don't recognize the temptation when it comes.
Yep.
And you're slow in response and you're almost numb to it, right? I mean, one of the churches in the book of Revelation where Jesus, the book of Revelation starts with 7 letters to 7 churches, right? And in Revelation 3, the church of Sardis is receiving this letter from Jesus, and Jesus says to them, "You have the reputation of being alive, but you're dead." And then he says, "Wake up and strengthen what remains and is about to die." So they're not completely dead. But Jesus is like firing a warning shot here. He says, "I have not found your works complete in the sight of God." But when I used to teach on the 7, I did a few lessons on the 7 churches, and the Sardis always stuck out to me because Jesus gives this command of wake up. And if you read the first 3 chapters of Revelation and these letters to the churches, he's always using references to their city or their church. And so to us, it's like, wake up. Oh, spiritually wake up. But in doing research on the church of Sardis, what I realized was that the city it was built on a mountainside. And it had actually been conquered twice in its history because the watchmen had fallen asleep. Right? So you think, let's see, 213 BC and 546 BC, right? Twice the city Sardis had been overrun because the guys that were responsible for keeping the night watch fell asleep and the enemy invaded. And so when Jesus tells them to wake up, immediately they're thinking about their city's history
Yeah.
and going, yeah, we know what happened to us physically in our past. That's happening to us spiritually, right?
Well, I love it. Start that set of verses again, right?
In
Because it says-
Revelation?
yeah.
Yeah. So the angel of the church, the words of him who has the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars, I know your works. You have the reputation of being alive, but you are dead.
So,
You can go to church, look the part, do all that
cultural
stuff.
Christianity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you have the reputation,
Yeah.
right? It's easy, right? We've got this. Oh, you're playing the part,
Yeah.
but you're asleep.
Yeah. Individuals, churches.
Yeah,
I mean, just because you have the doors open and the lights on doesn't mean you're
yeah.
a church that's alive. Or
That's
just
good.
because
Yeah.
you're sitting in the pew or the chair on Sunday doesn't mean you're a Christian that has, you can fool everybody but God, is basically what he's saying.
Man. Yeah, I was challenged by the going along with the same line of thought. The first day in Matthew 26, 40 and 41. I'll just go and read it. He said, and he being Jesus, came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, so you cannot watch with me 1 hour. Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And something that just challenged me about this was, as men, we're called to be watchful to our families, our church, our communities, for others. But if I'm not watchful in my own life, to my almost like the personal watchfulness, which is kind of what we're talking about. Am I sleeping? Because the question is like, where are you sleeping lately? Like in your own life. And it reminds me of a lot of the sermons we've been going through in Judges, just the complacency and the just the lack of obedience and intentionality in following God, right?
Yeah.
And like they couldn't watch for 1 hour, right? And he said, "You're the Spirit's willing. Like you can say you want to do, like you can want to watch your own life, watch sin in your life, follow Christ, but know that your flesh is weak. Like you have this part of you that's still remaining that does not want to stay awake." Right. And so that question, the personal watchfulness, is really something that was challenging. Because if I want to be a husband that is watchful over my wife, and a father that is watchful over my family and my church and all these different things, but I'm not watchful in my own life, I am not going to be watchful in the others. I can act the part, but I'm not going to be. And so where am I sleeping? That was the question for me. That was like, man, where am I sleeping in my own life? And I need to be watchful in that area so that I can be watchful in all these other areas for others around me. To be a man, I got to be watchful in my own life first, right? That was just a challenge for me.
I love Judges. I never thought I would say that, but I love Judges. And I think it's really terrible people. But I think they're there for a reason and a purpose, because the gospel is for really terrible people.
Yep.
And you look at guys like Samson, and I mean his weakest spot was women.
Yep.
Right? He goes and sees this woman right in his own eyes. And then at the beginning of this next chapter 16, he's with a prostitute one night. And then they know, like the men of Gaza want to get rid of him. And they know they have to hire another prostitute named Delilah because she can get to him. And it's like the enemy knows where to attack me.
Yep. Exactly.
He knows exactly where to attack me. And for these guys, it was not, let's get him drunk. It's not, let's get him gambling. It was, we know he's a womanizer. And if we can get the woman after him, we got his secret.
Yep.
And I think that's the thing, like Satan knows our weak spots. And I think we know our weak spots too, but we're not sober-minded about it. We're not vigilant about it.
Yeah.
Like those areas should be the ones where I'm guarding the most.
We talked about this last week. I think the problem is not the ones that we know are weak spots. It's the ones that we don't think are our weak spots.
That we
That
don't
we
think.
don't,
Yeah.
That like, oh no, that doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't get you. If you didn't listen to watch The Dangers of Small Compromises, I really encourage you to go back and do that.
Mm.
First of all, if the only thing you do is go to the end and listen to somebody pray in a different tongue and remind yourself that this is not a gospel for Americans. This is not a gospel for English speakers, but it's a gospel for all people.
Yep.
Like if that's all you listen to, just listen to that part. It's just there's something about it. But there's a lot in there, and one of the things that really sort of just got me thinking this week was he talks about how we go, and particularly coming out of the 90s and sort of where church history, right? You went to church on Sunday morning, you were there for about 2.5 hours. You went on Sunday night, you were there for about an hour. You went on Wednesday nights, you were there for about an hour. And we're at 4 to 5 hours a week. And that's the discipling that we're getting. It's like, but you watch 10 hours of TV. You know, and to put it in today's context, you're on social media for an hour. You're every day, right? What's actually discipling you in your life? What's actually feeding into you? And it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about that in our evangelism class last night, that, pre-World War II, the home was the primary community where people were shaped and the worldview was shaped, right? So because you had that, what people call the nuclear family. And I get that that's, primarily written by white people, but, you had the father, the mother stayed at home, children at the home, and, the father went to work, came home, did family. But that's where your worldview was shaped. Post-World War II, most homes began to transition into both parents working outside the home. And you spent less time at home, and you were now with other people for 8 to 10 hours a day that are coming from different worldviews. And no longer you being shaped in the home by that nuclear family worldview. Now you're being influenced by all the people that are bringing competing worldviews, and your views on things began to change.
yeah.
And you began to say, oh, well, maybe I need to believe this because this person makes a good argument or whatever it may be. But now you just compound that with, the greatest shapers of worldview today are social media influencers. The single greatest shapers of a person's worldview. Teenagers especially, that are just doom scrolling, right? And they're just soaking it in.
I wouldn't put it on just teenagers.
No, I mean, but
Well, it's on the parents, really.
It is on the
Well, I mean, I can give you an
Matthew's
example.
changed a lot of views.
I can give you an example right now. I was watching. There's this podcast where this guy interviews people that are in bad finances and stuff, and it gets into their personal life.
Ooh, he's rough.
Yeah, I know he's rough.
He's rough on him.
Yeah, he is. But this one lady that was there, I think she's a single mom, so you have sympathy for in that respect. And he gets into her personal life, and he's like, "Oh yeah, she says my kids are raised by YouTube." And he was just looked at her like, "Why does that not?" But she's like, "That's just the way the world is." Like, she's like, "That's just how it is." Like, and he's like, "That okay with you?" Like, yeah, sure, they'll be fine. Like they're all of her kids are just like, and she even said, "Yeah, my kids are crazy bad." Like, but they're raised by YouTube. Like, and it was just like this. Oh, that's like the mess of the end result when men don't be men. Because maybe the man that impregnated her was wrong. Like, he could have been, or they're just like something happened, and that's the end result now. Where like YouTube and social media influencers are raising people. That's the driving force, and then it's producing these now upcoming adults that are just like they're brain dead. They have no way to clearly think or to have opinions that are thoughtful. Like, it just, and I mean, I think it goes back to men not being men, right? And being watchful over their families or their own lives. I'm just going to go sleep around with whoever I want, impregnate all these people, and then not take responsibility. Like, there's so many problems, like it just, yeah. That was something that I saw recently, and they just shocked me. Like, she was just so okay with it.
Yeah.
My kids are raised by YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, Absolutely, 100%. But I just there's plenty of middle-aged senior citizen adults that are completely influenced by the news. You go back to and credit be to him because he changed the media landscape. But Rush Limbaugh completely changed the culture of news to an editorial-based system. So we don't get news anymore. All we get are people's opinions about news.
On the news, yeah.
And that shapes so many people's
True.
mindset. And it's not just the young kids, right?
That's when it comes to being
I agree with you.
sober-minded too. Like, as a Christian, I have to be really. And I know we're talking about sin and temptation, but I got to be really careful on what voices I allow to come into my mind and my life. You know, like just because I'm conditioned to listen to certain opinions on things, or you know, maybe they line up with my political views or whatever. Listen, that's what Jesus said: be wise as serpents, gentle as doves. Just because someone loves America and says that they're a God-fearing person does not mean they're speaking biblical truth. Yeah. And I think even within the conservative world, like, everybody on Fox News is not a Jesus-loving Christian. Everybody that's a conservative pundit is not a Jesus-loving Christian. Like, they may say that because they know it's going to boost ratings, but listen, let's be real.
Definitely do.
Conservative Christians in America are a voting base. That's what we are.
Yeah, no, it's a political identity.
It is a political identity. Yeah. And for a lot of them, they're wolves in sheep clothing. No. And we have to be so careful, because if we're not careful, we will allow ourselves to be. So again, we got to be sober-minded, because we'll allow the political commentary to shape our theological views.
Yep.
Rather than our theological views shape our political beliefs. Yep. Once we cross that line, then it's dangerous, because we have to realize Jesus is not the King of America, right? He is the Lord and King of kings of all the universe. So I
go back to
send
this,
the emails to Matthew at Taylor Red.
This is an example of the influence that is pushed on us that we don't like, even outside of the influencers that we commonly think of. And I'm going to dredge up some old feelings here, but like, you had the whole issue several years ago of NFL players not standing for the national anthem. Right? Listen, I'm a military brat. I stand not technically at attention, but I was taught to stand, observe the national anthem, respect the national anthem. So I'm not saying that I expect otherwise. But I asked, me and my friend group started asking us, like, I played a lot of football. I never once remember being on the field during a national anthem, during any of that pregame, right? Like, I came out as a captain, was out there early, was out there for warming up. But to my recollection, if any of that happened at any of the games, and I'm pretty sure it did, probably at all of them, I was in the locker room. It's not aired at college for college games, except for the big college games.
Yeah. Chris Stapleton can do it anytime in there. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Or Steve Wilson.
Yeah,
But
Steve Wilson Jr. Yeah.
The point here is, at some point decades ago, the United States military, as a part of a marketing campaign, because, hey, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, like 49 of the top 50 viewed programs this year will be NFL games, right? Not just the Super Bowl, your
definitely.
regular
season
Sunday game 12 o'clock will be some of the most viewed television of any programs. So the military, with some smart guys, were like, hey, we need to get in front of that base. I'll tell you what we're going to start doing. We're going to start doing flyovers over all the stadiums all the time.
And national anthems on TV.
And we will pay money as a part of an advertising segment to have the national anthem viewed
Is this real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So-
There's nothing like seeing a B-2 bomber, though.
No, it's awesome,
cool.
right? And I'm not
So
saying
cool.
that there's
Notice I
anything
said
wrong
see.
with that.
You can't hear it.
But suddenly, like we weren't worried about whether they were standing for the national anthem at any other any other football games. Really, football was the only one
Yeah.
because most of the other sports you're actually out there for. But and it was like, well, do you care that they're not standing for it at the college football games? It's like, well, they're not out there, and it's like, okay, so as long as they're not out there, you're okay with whatever they're doing.
They're on the John and they're taking a pregame dump.
That's exactly what they're doing.
So and it was one of those, and I remember, I think it was NBC was like, hey, we're just not going to show it.
Yeah.
And then they got boycotted for not showing it. And it was like, it's like, well, wait a minute. What do we want here? Right? And it's just that what we're influenced by, we probably don't even, like most of the time, we don't even realize some of it. So
Yeah.
the need to be sober-minded in all things and really go back to what truth is informing what I believe to what you just said is an element there that we've got to be
Yeah, for sure.
mindful of.
Whitney Houston, too. What a great national
Let's
anthem.
just list all the ones we like.
Greatest halftime show ever performed? Creed.
I don't know.
At the Thanksgiving Cowboys and whoever that was.
I just can't.
When they
listen,
had the sky dancers and the...
Yeah, and I don't know, but like, we're all old enough, and I was young enough that Michael Jackson halftime performance, like they didn't do that until that one, as far as I
Right.
know. Like I remember watching that going,
Wait, he
This
was up
is
on that scoreboard and
awesome.
now he's here on the stage.
The first one I remember watching was Justin Timberlake.
Okay, let's keep
that-
going.
that-
That,
keep
that was
going.
the first one I
Sober
remember.
minded.
you remember
Sober-minded.
watching, yeah.
Oh, I do too. My youth group was we
Yeah.
as a youth group we were over
Yep.
at somebody's house.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, Janet.
And but I would say one of my favorite ones is, might surprise y'all, but the Bruno Mars one
That was pretty good.
was
Pretty good. Prince.
pretty fantastic.
Prince was pretty good.
Yeah, Prince was real good.
I thought the Katy Perry one was
I did too. I like
was
Katy Perry,
pretty
though.
impressive.
That's my guilty pleasure.
Katy Perry.
Gary, yeah,
It's
man, I
not
love
even the
Katy
song,
Perry.
but think
Katy
about
Perry.
it.
No
First
comment.
of all, she's riding in on the lion from Aladdin,
Yeah.
which is like this whole awesome thing.
You're saying it like it's a performance,
like as a
overall.
performance
Okay.
for a 25-minute halftime show. Like when you see like
And all the
she
all
rolls
the
out there and then the
sharks
left shark whole thing,
Yeah,
like
the
it
whole
created
thing.
a whole
That
thing.
was
It was
so
just awesome. There's so I don't even remember what I don't remember what song she
That
did.
Puerto Rican guy this past year was pretty lit. He was lit.
yeah, lit,
Lit.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and all of us '90s kids, the
Last year, 2 years ago with
yeah,
Snoop
the
Dogg.
Dre and
Yeah.
Eminem, 50, and yeah.
Yeah. Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
My favorite part about that is all the parents that would get mad at us for listening to that music while we were growing up. We're all
man.
like, "Oh, look at this!"
Yeah,
and it's
man.
like,
What was up with 50
Wait.
Cent hanging from his feet? Remember that? Like they opened that trailer door and he's just hanging upside down.
well,
Like,
I think
what was the point of
I
that?
might be wrong on this. Like it was supposed to just be like the cool intro,
Yeah.
and then he was supposed to but he got stuck.
Cut away, cut away,
Yeah.
cut away.
I like the Snoop, the whole one. I like, yeah,
That's what we're talking about.
yeah. It's just one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sea walking and all that there.
Yeah.
Sea
Man.
walking.
Sober minded.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, that's Friday, right? What inputs are you need guarding, right? You know.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that one.
No, yeah. Too convicting. Too convicting.
Yeah, really, too close to home.
All right.
Let's talk about y'all's problems.
we're-
Yeah,
We're making our way back to the start here. So, I had two things that I wanted to. I've been saving one, but we've been doing the Summer of George updates, so I'm going to get to it. But I want to ask. Well, I guess I'll ask it first. When was the last time you fasted meaningfully? What did you give up and for how long?
Oh, gosh. I think it was about a year ago. Went without food.
I
for a few
plead the
days.
fifth.
yeah. I think either earlier this year or last fall, I went on like I'm going to start putting fasting as a rhythm in my life, and I did like 1 day a week. But it was like I did it for what, like a handful of weeks, right? And then I fell off. But I tried to build it, and then it might have been over. It might have been a year ago.
Fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
So I got this question from, I don't know, it was one of these segments from the weekly Bible study follow-up, and it was talking about addiction, and basically said, if you can't give it up for me, no, it wasn't that. It was part of the podcast. All right. So, challenging people, like if you can't give it up for a meaningful amount of time, you're addicted, bro. And I started like, oh, that's a really good way to think about it. Like it has control over your life.
I'll respond with, why don't you fast on breathing? See how that.
Yeah, I am.
Or you get with that.
I am.
Breathing's an idol in your life, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you love that air, don't you?
love that air.
I am
Not at
addicted
all.
to breathing. Right.
Not at all what that means.
When I try to get away from it, it doesn't work out very well.
does
I'm
not.
addicted to it. Right. The withdrawals are real.
The withdrawals are pretty strong.
It's tough.
Yeah, I didn't. That wasn't in regard to what we were really talking about. It's
No.
just-
No.
yeah.
Try
But-
not breathing.
So I thought about that,
Hate
and then
your
I
own
was like,
sin.
okay, what? Like the power of fasting, and I was like, what's the last time? And we did a church challenge.
yeah.
I don't remember how long ago, but that was like the first time. Like I've done like a day here where I'm not gonna, but like me going, hey, I'm not gonna eat anything for a day. Like that might happen on a random Tuesday.
Yeah, that'll
Like-
happen to me. But you said intentionally.
Yeah,
But intentional, I'm going to
I've never
forethought.
intentionally said.
Well, but my point is like if I intentionally do something that occurs just randomly throughout my life, how intentional am I being about it? Like, am I really right? It'd be completely different. I'll give one for you. It'd be completely different. I thought about it. I haven't sucked it up to do it yet. And this is another one of those addiction points where you're like trying to figure out when's the best time to do it. It's like, maybe you got some problems. But I was like, hey, what if I gave up coffee? And for how long? See? And for how long would I have to give it up
You lost Joseph.
to
So-
be?
So let me
It's like convulsing.
let me interject here because my personal beliefs on fasting shaped by scripture. And when we see the pattern in the scripture, it was a regular rhythm in the life of Jewish Christians, but it was also in the Old Testament. A lot of times it would be done communally for specific reasons. So for national grief, for, deliverance, for, all that kind of stuff. So I think in the life of a believer, I don't recommend people just be like, I think I'm going to fast this Thursday. Because my question is like, why? What's your purpose? Well, the Bible says to fast. Okay, but that fasting is not the end in itself, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I
That's
do
true.
agree with there's
very
been
true.
a period in my life where, and I got away from it too, but I was trying to fast every Wednesday, like just go the whole day. And the purpose of that is, what am I, there's something in my life that I'm praying for, that I'm wanting to see God do. And the purpose of fasting is when my body naturally craves food, that is an alarm system to my mind to go stop and pray. Right. So when I am fasting, there will be this, 12:30 in the afternoon, man, I'm hungry. But that's when I go, God, I desire to know your will for my life more than I desire food right now. So all that to say, like, I am a huge proponent of fasting. I practice it, but I also think that, like, whether it's coffee, like there's other things I can give up. But then I find myself in a quandary because, I mean, it is well known how much coffee I drink. That speeds up your metabolism. So, like, I'm also shooting myself in the foot because if I'm just drinking, like, I'll drink fluids that day.
Yeah.
But if you're just drinking water and coffee, you're getting more and more hungry. Like, it's rough, buddy. It's rough. I quit before I moved here. I went like 6 months without coffee. I drank decaf.
Yeah.
The worst 3 days of my life. My secretary was out of the office. I started on a Thursday morning, and she was out that day. Y'all, I was up under my desk asleep. Like my head is just pounding and throbbing. And I just drank decaf until this woman at our church who was just a health nut was like, have you ever wondered how they get the caffeine out of the bean? And I was like, huh? And she goes, so many chemicals. And I was like, I'm free. That's when I got back. I got off the wagon again. So anyway,
I tried to give up pooping once.
All right, so
Yeah.
that's enough for today, I think.
Yeah. Eventually, I gave in.
Strong withdrawals there.
What is wrong?
It was right after he took a big deep breath of air. Like,
What's wrong with you?
no, but that's
I love him.
exactly to your point. Like, so I used to drink coffee all day long, and I already cut that back to just basically in the morning, but it's still right a half a pot,
Yeah.
and then I may or may not have a cup at work. Well, I start my day with coffee.
Yeah.
So if I gave it up, not only would I have to deal with like how addicted am I to it, but replacing it with scripture and prayer alone.
Is there
Now,
bad words in scripture? 'Cause
now I'm
I
just
think if
mad.
I gave up caffeine again,
now I'm just mad.
I would be like,
Well, that's
I gave
that's
up
one of
talking
mine.
to my kids.
That's
That's what I'm fasting from.
all right. So you just gave a little bit of a George Costanza crawled up under your desk taking a nap.
Yeah, I did. Yes,
reference
I did.
there.
Yes, I did.
So this weekend, and we talked about this earlier, but this weekend, randomly, I turned on the TV and it was the episode of Seinfeld where the 3D art is gone there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to ask the guys. Have you ever
Never.
had a 3D art picture or poster in a place that you were living?
Not in the place I was living. I've
No.
never been able to see the 3D art. I've been, especially when
So
I was
you're Mr. Pitts.
Yeah. When I was a kid and a teenager, I can remember very specifically the church that my dad pastored in Demopolis. So I was 16, 17, 18. And there was in the conference room there was a poster of 3D art. And y'all, I would like catch myself in there cross-eyed, like trying to back away. And like my dad would walk in the conference room like, what are you doing? I'm like, I can't see. What am I supposed to be
Daniel's one of
seeing?
those just like walking up, putting his nose on
Yeah,
there, and just
I would
slowly
just back
backing
up, and I'd be like, "What am I supposed to see here? I just see a bunch of squiggly lines."
I never could see him.
Really?
Never could. Yeah. So no, I
Could you?
Yeah.
He said
He
that
said,
like
I'm not an idiot.
I'm Patrick freaking Dean.
The Slim Reaper, baby.
Of course I can see it.
I didn't know there were real life Mr. Pitts out there.
He had to cross his
just
eyes
sitting there
just to
like-
see the thing everybody
I
else
do
saw.
henna art and puka shells. Of course I can see it.
No puka shells. Say no to puka shells. I'm permanently fasted from puka
Yeah,
shells.
yeah, those are good. That's good.
Yeah.
Also, did I give y'all the update from Dale on that episode?
No, did he? I think you said something about Dale.
Yeah, I called him out on
Hey,
it,
Dale.
and I told y'all I would get a response.
We have a listener.
He what did he say?
So give us a little context. Remind us. What,
Yeah, so
It was
last year we were talking, I don't remember, we were talking about me being a beach bum, essentially, right? Airbrush, henna,
Yeah.
working on the beach, and somebody brought up puka shells. I was like, no, never. And I said, real beach bums don't wear puka shells. And I said, I bet Dale Thomas, I bet he has some puka shells. So, Matt, I'm going to send this to you, and maybe you can put it up.
You can hold it up. I got the camera.
Okay, you got it on there. So Dale,
That's awesome.
he takes my headshot
Hey,
and
Puts
puts
a
a puka
puka
shell
shell.
necklace
once you go puka, you don't go
There
back.
you go.
around it, which of course is just awesome.
You know what? We need to get Patrick's mom's contact information.
Patrick's
See
like,
if we can't get any
yeah, not gonna let.
Yeah,
that
you can get the dirt all you want, but
any pictures that we may have. I bet Ashley's got access.
she'll tell you no puka shells.
No. I mean, I'm not worried about
Yeah.
that. We just need to see sunshine.
Ooh, there's not a lot of pictures out there anymore.
Really?
No, I came up going into law school when they were like purge social media. So I purged social media.
Good for you.
All of those pictures are gone.
I'm not talking about social media.
Well, I want to see them too.
I'm talking about like high
but
school
that was-
pictures.
all that ate. Well, no, I just lived under my dad's roof. I wasn't allowed to have
High and tight, baby.
long
High and
hippie hair.
tight.
Not high and tight, but and baseball. So
Okay.
baseball coach was
Okay.
like, it's
How long did you have
that
that hair? Like, so graduated high school, started
Yeah,
growing
in
it.
college. It was
All through college?
past shoulder length for a little while.
Dang. Did he really look like Sunshine? You were Sunshine?
I mean,
I'm just thinking, knowing Joseph's wife and her hair being like sunshine,
Yeah.
It really is.
we may not want to show Joseph these pictures.
That's a good point. Maybe you should.
We don't want to
I
put.
don't want to
We
put
don't want a
any on-
temptation. on
Hey, be sober minded.
Well, so could you see the 3D art?
So
Do you even know you're not old enough to know what we're
I know what
talking
you're
about?
talking about. I think my grandparents had one in their house.
Okay, there we
and
go.
I didn't.
knew somebody was
My
gonna
grandparents had. I think it was like a Jesus. Like it had like the word Jesus, but it took me years to be able to see it. Like years. And I was like, I remember asking, like, what is that? They're like, oh, it's Jesus. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then they like made me sit there and look at it. And eventually I could see it.
He was
See,
homeschooled.
maybe the ability to see the 3D art is an indicator of future life in the ministry.
That could be
That's
it.
what I'm
I'm
getting.
cooked.
Like,
I've never seen. They used
I
to
know.
have.
Well,
in the-
you're in the ministry. You don't have to worry about it.
yeah, in the dentist office, man. He'd be like, my dad would be like, "What's wrong with you?"
you go to the dentist office, end up at the eye doctor.
It's like,
I know.
this guy can't
What's wrong
see.
with him? Well, he couldn't see that 3D.
Oh, it's so tough.
But I've never come out of the bathroom with my shirt off.
That's a win.
George.
Because you walk in the bathroom and just go, oh, I can't see it, and walk out. Daniel's
not
gonna
another
end
one of
struggling.
these.
Yeah. Just
Never
started
been.
asking people, what's in this one?
Yeah. Oh, and everybody has something different. That's when I realized it's a hoax.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, "What do you see?" "Well, I see a bunch of guys fishing." Like, well, what do you see? "I see football players." I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, then I can do this.
Just make something.
Yeah, I wanna,
Just make it up.
On the way out the door here, you want to test Mr. Seinfeld's recall of that episode?
Ooh,
Yeah, go for it.
Oh boy.
What big thing happened to Kramer in that episode?
I don't know. Wait, give me a hint. Give me a hint.
The circus.
I don't know.
So it's the one where he's got like a kidney stone, and he goes to the bathroom because it's finally like hit the point when he's got the tightrope walker walking across, and he lets out this like
Yes, and they fall.
guttural scream, and everybody's like,
Yes.
ah!
Okay, I got it again. I'm good. I was thinking about. Never mind. All right.
It's just one of those. That show's so good. You just sit there
We're
and
out.
laugh. Yeah. Enjoyed it. Well, how did we finish this from the start to finish to start?
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The back is the end. The end is the front.
We're going in reverse.
Catch us next week, or is it last week? I don't know.